Let's begin and take another look at our Sunday school lesson for today. We are beginning in this month of July a brand new unit. We are in unit number 2 that is entitled The Word, the Agent of Creation. And we are looking at John's Gospel. And in 5 lessons, we're going to be looking at the creating Word, who is Jesus Christ. And we're going to look at his work in and with humanity here in this earth. So it's a great group of 5 lessons that we're going to take a look at for this month of July from the Gospel according to John. So let's begin today with the first lesson of this new unit. And our lesson for today is lesson number 5 for July the 3rd, 2022, entitled The Reason for It All. Our printed passage today, John chapter 1, verse 1 through 14. Now, as we continue to think about being partners in the new creation, which is our summer quarter, and it points to how we as the church can be used by God in reconciling and recreating and rightly restoring all things to God. As we think about that theme and we think about our lesson on today, the beginning of this new quarter, we look at Jesus, the Word, the agent of creation. We focus in on Jesus, and we have to understand that it is Jesus who is able to recreate, refresh, revive, renew all of creation. That is, whether it's us or physical creation, he is able to renew it and remake it and make it all over again. We see this in the book of John. Now, in Matthew, Mark, and Luke, they see the gospel in a similar way. They begin with Jesus' earthly lineage. They start with his birth, his mother, earthly father, and they look at his line. They look at him aging and growing up, and then they look at what makes it the gospel, his life, his death, his burial, and his resurrection. Matthew, Mark, and Luke all see it from a similar point. But John sees it from a different viewpoint. It is John who goes beyond just his earthly image and his earthly lineage. It is John who goes back to the very beginning. And John tells us that in the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. And this Word became flesh and dwelt or tabernacled down here among us. And because that Word did live down here among us, John says, we beheld his glory, the only begotten of the Father. One of the important things John tells us in that first chapter is that all things were made by him, and without him was there not anything made that was made. That's what John says in verse number 3. Verse number 4, John says, in him was life, and the life was the light of men. And verse number 14 tells us, or well, rather, verse number 12 says, as many had received him, gave him them the right to become the sons of God. And then verse number 14 tells us they beheld him in his glory, the only begotten of the Father. John describes here something very important for us to understand when it comes to recreation. And that is that our belief in Jesus Christ to be able to recreate us is a living and alive hope and faith. So don't you take it lightly like this is something pretend. The Jesus that we serve has been so since the beginning with the Father. The Jesus that we serve has creative power. In fact, anything that was made by him. In this Jesus that we serve is life. And that life is the light of every man, woman, boy, and girl that is alive here on this earth. This Jesus that we serve is glorified, is full of grace, and is full of truth. This Jesus that we serve is real. And if we as men and women of God can get people to Jesus, despite what they've heard, despite what they believe, despite their own type of beliefs, if we can get them to Jesus, Jesus has the power to renew, recreate, and revive them. He has that power. And he has that power because he is from the beginning. He is able to do that. I pray that even as we start this unit of lessons, I pray that we all are able to embrace and love the truth and the faith that we have in Jesus Christ, to know that he is able. He is able to recreate all of creation.